Hi, Paul Slacker's Good News Broadcast, speaking of Sandra Finkelstein. Hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
You're about to launch, or maybe you have launched, the new website called tobeempowered.com, okay? Is that right?
That is correct. I'm just about to launch it. We're just in the final phase of development, and the content's been done.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
And you're living in Toronto, is that right, Canada?
Yeah, I live in Toronto, actually just outside in a suburb called Thornhill. But yeah, I'm in Toronto, Canada.
Are you from there? Were you born there?
I was born there and lived there, and, I traveled all over, but yeah, that's where my roots are from.
Okay. All right. Now, to be empowered. Okay, to be empowered. So what does to be empowered mean?
To be empowered it was sort of an evolution to me over my decade of my journey, and I realized that a lot of what I was going through was about empowering myself. And when I was trying to select a name for my company and for my website, I really wanted it to reflect who I am. So I went on and searched and obviously looked through using my web designer and web person, and we came up with To Be Empowered. And I think it just reflects who I am. It reflects the site. It's the site not about me. It's about the empowerment of women. And there's a children component, but it's about empowerment. Giving back, taking back.
Okay. Well, let's go back a little bit. Tell me a little bit about who you are and where, some of the kinds of things you've been doing in your life.
Well, I'm a mother of 2 boys, and traditionally I stayed home with the boys as they were growing up, and I also became very involved with the wellness industry because there's a history of Crohn's and colitis in the family. And so, from a preventative point, I really wanted to look at how can I get back to my children and keep them healthy and bring in wellness so that, maybe I could avoid them getting Crohn's. And I guess through my own journey, I discovered that it is about prevention, and then it's also about healing. And so healing actually was more what I went through in terms of when my marriage started to break down. So the path has been wellness for the last 10 years, and my boys, and I've been home, and I've had a desire to really make a difference. And just having children has also brought a lot of awareness about the role that children play in our lives. We think that we just teach them, and I recognized when the girlfriend of mine's son died that there was a big component about children actually choosing us as more spiritual thinking, and that they actually have as much to teach us as we have to teach them. So there was a lot of in the last 10 years about just taking the time to work on myself and to break cycles, things that I wanted to break for my children, past histories that have gone through my family. So the decade really has been a time of self-awareness, and what I recognize now, 10 years later, is that it's really now my time to give back. It's my time to make a difference in the life of one person, 2 people, and hopefully more, the world, but I'll start with one person at a time.
Okay, great. That's a noble mission and a good thing to be pursuing here. It says here, what did I say? You're who are the mirrors in many ways, your children. I am continuously being challenged by my children, who are my mirrors in many ways. Well, let's talk about children, because I have a daughter, and she's married. I'm a grandpa now, and another on the way. It's a beautiful thing. It's the biggest, wonderful, most mazel tovy thing I could ever have happen in my life, and so it's so wonderful. But there's challenges. In fact, I was on the subway today coming out to work, and I heard a mother talking about she was with her son, and he was a teenager, and he was saying how it's not easy. That he was saying how he was got in trouble, I guess, in the area with something that he didn't do. And so it's very complicated, isn't it? How old are your children, for example?
Well, my children are young. They're 6 and turning 9 this Saturday, actually. But, I feel with children that, first of all, I feel that the children coming in, in this day and age over the last decade more. Well, you've heard like indigo children. There's something called rainbow children, and now, well, actually it was crystal children, indigo, and now it's rainbow. And what I believe through my own awareness and through reading and through just seeing it, and I see with my friends, is that, and you might see this with your grandchild, they might be a little young, but a lot of the kids today are very aware. I mean, forget the technology that's available, and yes, they have different tools available, and it's a whole different environment out there compared to when I was growing up. But I feel that children are very, very aware, come at a much more aware level in terms of just life and understanding. And some of the things that my children say to me, I'm dumbfounded. Like, I say, where does this come from? When I was actually going through my separation and I would sit down and talk to my children, they were 3 and 6 at the time. Some of the things that they would come back to me is, Mommy, I want you to be happy. And I'd be like, who am I talking to? And it was just amazing. And I just would look at them and some of the things they say. And, it's interesting because there's so many systems in place and they're breaking down. We're seeing that in our environment, political. We're seeing that in the financial. We're seeing that in the economic. The United States is having their first African-American president being elected, sworn in on January 20th. So systems are breaking down. And what I feel is that the children are going to push the changes that we're going to see in this world. And it is my feeling that we are borrowing the world from them. It's their world. It's their environment. So that's why the environment is such a hot topic. We need to start making the changes today that we're going to start to see in 1, 2, 5, 10, 20 years. We need to start now. And one of the components of my website in terms of breaking cycles is reaching out to the youth and actually tapping into their knowledge and their concerns and their thoughts and their ideas and guiding it. They need to be guided. I understand that. They're not fully developed in terms of their brain knowledge, but guiding them and really bringing that together and merging, let's say, the business community with the youth and starting to empower our youth so that we can start to create leaders. I don't know. I know the United States is a different place, but with Canada, we have honestly no leadership, and we need to start now. And so I feel that Canada is a great country and it can have that great leadership, but it's not just Canada, it's around the world that we can start uniting the youth around the world and we will see a different world, one hopefully more of peace, one of more of compassion, understanding, sharing, collaborating, working together, making differences. So there's a large component of my website is women and breaking cycles and healing, and then it filters down to the children. So I'm excited. And with my children, like with my son, we sat down and we talked about the environment and things that we need to do in the house and turning off the electrical bar and shutting off the lights and, just making a difference in our own home. So it's amazing to see what children want to do and when you inspire them and empower them, what they come up with. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. Super. Now, you also, it seems that you're involved with study of energy work.
Yep.
What's energy work in your mindset?
Well, there is a traditional thinking of Reiki, which is the divine Reiki energy that you bring in. I have taken a course through a school called Transformational Arts College, which is in Toronto, and I've done a lot of just self-work, energy work. Energy to work to me, well, everything is energy. So it's about, matter isn't changed or destroyed. It's really transforming. So energy for me is, the energy work that I do is also about empowerment. The Reiki is a little bit more passive, and it when you go through the body, you basically can touch the body or not touch it. It's a very passive type of energy work. So I would call in energy. It's not me doing the healing, and I would put someone to get them into a relaxed state, and then the body will do what it needs to do. So maybe it's going to be relaxation. Maybe they're going to release something emotional. Maybe they're just going to feel good. I almost call it like a spiritual massage. My body energy work is more like the work of the medical intuitives, where I work with empowering the people, my clients, to go within the body. And the body is always talking to us. So the body holds memories, emotions, and we will tap into an area of the body, let's say your throat, your sore, and I get them to start thinking visually and tell me the images they see, what they feel, and then we go through a way of hopefully releasing it. It may be a total release, it may be a partial release, but it's empowerment work because you do the work. I just guide you. You have the awareness. So, for instance, one woman client came in, she called me off the internet, and she just said her energy was off. So we went through, and it turned out that over her heart was a huge feeling of, a dense feeling over her heart, and when we went to do the work, she realized that it was really fear, but what the big awareness was that she created the fear and that she has the ability to let that fear go. So we did some work, and I gave her some tools and ideas, and I work with some different blankets that I wrap around you for comfort. And it was amazing because she had the awareness. I didn't need to tell her that. I could have told her, but it was better coming from her. So that's really where my energy work is empowering.
So from, in essence, and I guess this is more recent in your life, this energy work?
I've been doing courses for the last year, and then I would say really since September, been implementing it.
How did you, I'm sorry, how did you, this probably could be quite helpful for those that are, have been, full-time at home, I guess, or unless you were working. Were you also working?
No, I actually, because of my divorce situation, I have basically support coming through my ex-husband, yes, so that is helpful, and I've put myself in a position for, getting myself up and going in the next 2 to 3 years.
Right. So that process of whether it's through divorce or just a desire to go back to work or whatever, how did you deal with that? That probably could be helpful for people, women that are, either have been housewives and or have gone through a change in their, marital status. Well, let's say.
Or I guess even just people who want to contribute,
or just want to do it.
Women at home want to make a difference.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I learned a long time ago was to get rid of guilt and to get rid of worry. Those are fear-based. So the first thing, I feel on my road to this journey was about finding my worth and who I am and starting to love and honor myself. So I think the first thing I started to do is empower myself and take back that and start to know that I can make a difference. But it starts with me. And as you start to make a difference in your own life, it starts to impact all the relationships you have. And then starting to realize who you are, you figure out what you resonate with. I think it's Marcus Buckingham, his name is. He talks about the strength within, your strengths, drawing your strengths. So let's say you started to find what your strengths were. And, maybe you started as a passion. Maybe you started as a volunteer. Maybe you started as, just 1 day a week doing a course. And then from there, you can take it to, time is obviously, of the essence. Like with my children, I sometimes only get 3 hours in a day to do work. And yesterday I had a complete meltdown and I was very frustrated. And I just thought, okay, I talk to people about baby steps. So I guess the thing I'm saying is it's about baby steps. Take baby steps. You don't need to take the large leap. Take the small little baby steps to change, starting with yourself, figuring out your passion, and then start to take those steps to make it larger and larger. So I just think a lot of it is about baby steps, and it's about making choices and letting go of, that your role in this world is not just to be the mother and daughter, sister, whatever it is. It's also about you, about who you are, and being true to yourself. And so I feel like the more you start to show respect, it will flow through in your family. But letting go of guilt and be in the moment. So if you're with your children, be in that moment. So enjoy that moment, and then when you want to do your work, focus on it for that hour or 2 hours or whatever time that you have. And incrementally, that will add up. And networking, like I do a lot of networking. I talk to a lot of people, and I always share my vision. And I try, and that's where collaboration comes in, because what will happen is maybe 2 people will come together and say, you know what, I want to start a business. So I guess for women, what I would say is if you want to sort of take the baby steps back into, is take it in your time, and there's no time frame. Like, in other words, take the baby steps. Some people will move a lot quicker. Some people will move a lot slower. You're not competing against anyone. It's just working with yourself. And frustrating, you'll be frustrated, yes, and you will have the moments where your child is sick and you're going to have to stay home and cancel your appointments. And, you're going to have to just let it go, because that is life. That's what I find when those things happen to me. So I think it's the baby steps you're going to take, and finding out who you are, finding your truth, following that, and take what resonates with you. So
sounds like a lot of good advice. Well, I'm sure your site's going to be very helpful for a lot of people. To be empowered.com, and I imagine within a short time, or you're going to have more and more information on there and opportunities for people to interact with you. So, sounds like a lot of good stuff.
If anyone wants to if anyone has any questions, they can email me at mysandra@tobeempowered.com. That is up and running. So.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Where is that on the web? I didn't necessarily see that on the website. Where is that? Oh, to view my services, things like that?
Yeah, if you go in. But that is just my interim site. But yes, that is It's all set up right now, so I can access that.
Great. Okay, well, congratulations, Sandra, on your outreach here.
For you.
Thank you so much. All right, have a great year. And last quick question here: what's good news for you?
The good news is I feel that at this point in my life I can create and whatever I want, and I'm very excited about what the future holds, and just I feel like the whole world is my oyster. And I know that people talk about recession. I just don't let it be part of my life. So I'm excited. I'm allowing all good things to flow to me right now.
Perfect. Okay, Sandra, thanks so much. Look forward to meeting you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.